more than 10% of the entire New Zealand Navy just sank in peacetime. It is their first ship lost since World War II. Let me get the name, because it's this like wackadoodle. So
this is not the U.S. Navy.
This is not the U.S. Navy, but it's part of the American Empire, because who are we kidding? It's New Zealand. And so this was the HMNZS Mana Wanui, a hydrographic vessel commissioned in 2019, and it sank off the coast of Samoa 4 days ago because it ran aground somehow, had a gash ripped in it, and the whole thing sank. And that is noteworthy because the captain of this nautical vessel was the first woman and first lesbian commander of a ship in the New Zealand Navy. And, people are drawing hateful conclusions based on that, Charlie.
So why would they draw hateful conclusions? But you're not allowed to mention that was she chosen as like a DEI deal?
Well, officially no, but unofficially, who are we kidding? We're not supposed to talk about it now, but I think we can all agree, before she unfortunately managed to do the one thing you're not supposed to do with your boat, which is sink it by running into things. It was kind of highlighted, look at the diversity we have in our Navy. We have this extremely diverse person doing this not traditionally diverse job. So, we're all very happy about this, but this is an incredible thing I wanted to highlight, which right after this happened, a fellow on X named John Conrad, who is the CEO of Maritime News, he had an extremely funny take on this. He says, I interviewed a female veteran who served as an officer on American ships about this incident, the ship sinking, and she shared an intriguing perspective I've never heard before. She said, it took men centuries and thousands of shipwrecks to master commanding ships without major incidents, and we should expect some losses as women who think differently learn the ropes and gain the experience of doing it their way, that is, driving a ship to not sink. She said losses are to be expected, and they are okay, especially if there's no loss of life. She said we shouldn't try to investigate this from a male perspective, but learn lessons from a female perspective. So this is all a learning experience, Charlie. Women are learning how to drive boats without sinking them, and we need to be understanding. This boat cost $100 million, by the way, and we've got to be very understanding and empathetic about this, as we worry about China expanding aggressively. And the real tragedy, Charlie, would be if we allowed this sunk boat to sink our commitment to diversity.
We can't allow that to happen. It would put an anchor on the DEI agenda.
It would. It'd be heartbreaking. We need to sail. The high seas of equity can be turbulent, but they must be sailed.
I think these programs have gone completely overboard.
Jack was in the Navy.
Completely overboard. Completely overboard with these programs. I think we should hoist these programs by the yardarm, and we definitely want to keel haul over in laughter when we hear more. But I don't want anyone to be too salty when they hear that the record won't go as well as everyone had thought. So you don't need to be wearing a Dixie cup to understand that this isn't going to work. I could probably do more, but I'm just going to stop there. It does remind me, though, of, funny enough, it's not really a DEI story, but Blake, you're familiar with the work of L. Ron Hubbard, right?
Oh, yeah.
Dianetics.
Dianetics.
Scientology.
Right. So
he spent a lot of time on a boat.
No, he did. Yeah, it was called he has Church of Scientology has a boat right now.
Oh yeah, that's where you get the top level Scientology revelations.
C organization, the C
OT8 or something they call it. Yeah.
But did you know that L. Ron Hubbard, prior to all of this, in World War II, served as a Navy officer? And when he was in the Navy officer, he worked on a patrol boat out of San Diego, and one of his jobs on the patrol boat was to escort aircraft carriers in and out of harbor. Again, during World War II, so there was this real risk that Japanese submarines might come in and attack the aircraft carriers as they were going in and out of port. This was a time when they were extremely vulnerable. Obviously, Pearl Harbor had happened, so there was a lot of tension around the harbors. And so at one point, he escorts this, I don't see what ship it was here. He escorts this aircraft carrier out, then he's bringing it back in, and he orders his men to, he's very young here, it was before Dianetics and everything, and he orders the men to sail towards these islands that are just south of Coronado. And when he does this, he then decides to hold an unsanctioned gunnery exercise while he's there, and says, open fire on those islands, and let's just get some gunnery exercise while we're in, unscheduled, et cetera, et cetera. Well, it turns out that he had actually sailed south of the border and into the territorial waters of Mexico, and that those were part of the Coronado Island chain that actually fell under Mexican sovereignty. And so, long story short, L. Ron Hubbard was relieved of command for accidentally declaring war on Mexico.